Hey guys, this is Muriel. Welcome back to my channel. I know y'all didn't expect me to come right back at y'all with another video that soon because that is so out of my character. But yes, I am back, and this is a topic I had it in mind to talk about it probably about a week ago, and it just slipped my mind, and it all of a sudden came back to me after I was watching a video on here of another nurse who was going over something that was similar to this, and I was like, oh yeah, I meant to discuss that. So on today's video, we are going to discuss agency nurses and agency CNAs refusing assignments. Let's get into it. Okay, so I was working at this facility the other day, and I've been going to that facility for the past few weeks. And this agency, now here I'm going to drop some numbers, but I'm not going to drop any names. But this particular agency that I'm working with, they are paying for this certain facility, this certain chain of facilities. They are paying their RNs $60 an hour, their LPNs are getting $50 an hour, and their CNAs are getting $25 an hour. Now, mind you, that is some good money. This money is taxed. You know, one agency I work with, the money isn't taxed, but this particular agency, they do tax. So it just happened. I was getting off. It was, you know, I worked a 7A, 7P shift. 7P to 7A had come in, and the staff nurse on that floor was making the assignments for the 7P, 7AAs that were coming in. And so there was this one particular aide. She came in, and you know, she started kind of like complaining about the assignment she had. She was like, I've been coming here for over a month, about a month and a half, and I need a break from that assignment. I'm always working that assignment. Now, mind you, I can understand wanting a break from an assignment, but as an agency worker, for the type of agency work I do now, I'm not on a contract. Some people are on contracts with the facility. They sign, you know, 4 weeks, 6 week, whatever contracts. I am not on a contract with that facility. I'm not sure if this aide is on a contract with this facility, but as an agency nurse or CNA or any staff member, you already know that it is the norm to be placed in with the hardest group, the hardest assignment as an agency staff. This is like a given. This is a known that they will place their agency staff with what is considered the hardest assignment, the hardest group, and give their regular staff, you know, the groups that are considered not as difficult. So she came in and she was, you know, saying, I've been with this group for working with this group. I've been here a month and a half. I'm tired. Can you give them to somebody else? You know, this, that, and the third. And so the nurse was, you know, and her and the nurse, they were going, like, she's an agency CNA. This is the staff nurse. They were kind of like going back and forth or whatever. And in my mind, I'm thinking, girl, and I say girl not to be condescending. I call women girls. I call men boy or guy, whatever. But I was thinking in my mind, I was like, girl, you are getting paid $25 an hour. Do you really think that these staff aides care that, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't come in here as an agency, know you're getting just about double what the staff aides are getting. And, you know, you can complain, but you really can't complain, you know, because you have the option of not coming at all. To be honest, as an agency worker, we have the option of not coming at all. If, you know, we're not risking any benefits, we're not risking any of that. The type of agency that we're working through is usually like a day-by-day basis. So if you've been coming here, I can understand you saying, well, I'm so tired of working this group. Can you put somebody else on this group or whatever? But once the nurse says, you know, no, I can't do that or whatever, that kind of ends there. You either have two choices. You have a choice to either leave or stay. But all that back and forth, like going word for word, as that staff nurse, I wouldn't. Me, myself, as an agency nurse, even if it is an agency CNA, I'm not going back and forth with you about what group you want to work, because I have been in situations where I have had to do the assignment because both nurses on the floor were agency nurses, and this other particular nurse, she may not have worked this floor before, or for some reason, some agency nurses just feel like they don't have to do the assignment, or they just don't do the assignment or whatever. So I'll just do the assignment. But as a nurse, period, I'm not gonna argue back and forth with an aide. I'm not gonna go back and forth about what assignment you got assigned if you're a staff or whatever. Now, what I do when I first come in, if I'm an agency nurse and those are the staff CNAs, I will ask them, well, who normally works what group? Or I'll look at the assignment from the day before or a few days before and see who worked in what group prior to. But I'm not about, and then for one, your shift start at 7 p. You roll in there about 7:30, 7:45. What leg do you really have to stand on? I don't understand how agency nurses like I have worked a facility before where there'll be agency nurses come into the building, and as soon as they get placed like on the hall with the trach patients, I don't work the trach hall. I'm gonna leave. And they leave. Some of them do leave. Now they have that option to do that. But my thing is, there's a trach hall in this building. There's a possibility you may get placed on that hall. So instead of just don't even pick up that facility. Like I can't say, when I used to work this facility, I had gotten kind of discouraged because every time I went in, because I was one of the few agency nurses that didn't gripe and complain about working the trach hall, but it had gotten to a point where every time I worked, even if I wasn't assigned that hall, they would place me on it. I guess because someone will come in and say I ain't working it, blah blah blah, and they will switch me or whatever. So I just went ahead and worked the assignment, and then it got to the point, I used to pick up like 3 shifts a week. But it got to the point where I was like, when I didn't, I would only do 1 shift a week there because I didn't want to always work the trach hall. But I never went in there arguing. Even when they switched me off the hall and put me on there and took another nurse who was complaining off, even when they had a staff nurse who normally worked at trach hall and they would move her on another side and put me on it, I never was like, oh God, I'm not working this. I'm getting paid very well. I'm almost expecting to be put on the the hardest hall or whatever. So yeah, I just don't understand how that particular situation, girl. My blood was I was getting aggravated myself because I was like, girl, you really sitting here going back and forth with this lady about working this assignment when you didn't even have to come. You didn't have to pick up this shift. Like, you didn't have to. Nobody made no prior agreement with you that you don't have to work that assignment. You know what I'm saying? You either work or you don't. Either stay or you go. Now, mind you, it's going to make everybody else short, but what are you expecting? Girl, you making $25 an hour as an aide in South Carolina. Where you gonna get that at? Where else are you gonna get? Where else are you gonna get? So if they say, okay, well, we don't even want you working in our building anymore because you made such a fuss. Where are you going at? Where you gonna get this $25 an hour? Oh yeah, that was just a little video about that. When you coming through an agency, just already have it in your mind that you're gonna get the worst assignment. And if you know that is not something you want to deal with on a constant basis, don't pick up 3 shifts a week. Don't pick up, just pick up 1 shift a week, or get an agreement ahead of time that they're not even gonna place you on that hall, because it might even happen that 4 aides were supposed to come in and only 3 showed up, so you still end up working, majority. And this goes for nurses too. I'm not leaving nurses. Like I was talking about the nurses with the trach unit. It goes for nurses too. Same thing. Girl, what? You knew this building had trach patients. You knew there was a hall with basically 7, 8, 9 trach patients. How you gonna come in talking about, I'm not working the trach hall? First of all, I don't understand a nurse that doesn't want to do it at least once or twice in order to get to know how to work with trach patients. The other day, I worked on a hall with ventilated patients. Y'all, I was so excited. I was so excited. I had never worked with a vent patient before. This is my first time ever as LP and RN anything. This is my first time ever working with ventilated patients. I was so excited in there. I think I had 7 who were on the vent and 2 who were not on the vent in the daytime, and then 1 who was already taken off the vent, but you know, they all had trachs. I was so excited to be working with the ventilated patients. I was in there with RT when it was buzzing, having them tell me what this means. What is this? What does this say? What is like? I was so excited, y'all. I was so excited. Now, mind you, we didn't do anything with the vents because they have RT around the clock, but just the fact that I got to work with ventilated patients, I was so excited because that was something new that I learned. Stuff like that excites me. Just the other day I had a patient who I had to do a UA on, had to draw blood and all that on, and you know, they came to me, being I'm an agency nurse, they came to me, you know, you could tell how they feel like, you know, they delivering bad news, and they were like, so-and-so need a CBC and a UA, a urine culture, and you know, it was Friday, so lab wasn't coming in the next day to draw the blood or anything, and she needs an abdominal ultrasound or whatever. But I'll help you. And I was like, oh no, I got it, I'm good. It was like, you know, she pees on her own. I was like, oh no, I don't do, I don't collect urine in the cups or the, you know, whatever, in the little pan. I don't do that because half the time they come back contaminated. So I always do an in and out cath to get urine or whatever. And so they were shocked. They were like, oh, okay. And she was like, well, I'll help you when it's, you know, when it's time for you to, you know, draw the blood or whatever. I was like, oh no, I'm good. I was like, what kind of needles y'all use? Y'all use butterflies, you know? She was like, oh yeah. She was like, well, let me show you. So she took me in a little room. She gave me all little things I need or whatever. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, okay, well, let me, you know, okay, all right then. And she was like, well, I'm gonna go ahead and call Mobilex or whatever and get the ultrasound, the abdominal ultrasound schedule and all. I was like, oh, okay, well, that's fine, you know. So I went on in the room. They didn't even know I was going on in the room. Child, by the time the woman came in the room, it wasn't even that long. I had done drew the blood because she came in to see if you need help with anything. I was like, oh no, I already drew the blood. I'm just getting this UA real quick. And she was like, oh, okay, yeah. Because see, I like stuff like that. I like, mind you, I've done in and out calves several times. I mean, I was an LPN for 18 years. I did UA in and out calves for years. Drawing blood is something that is not as familiar to me because even as an RN, I never had to draw blood that, you know, I really never had to draw blood. But when we were, you know, in the beginning of the, you know, whatever, you know, was going on last year, the patient that we had that were positive for a little short while, the nurse who was assigned to the patient had to do everything for the patient. That meant the nurse had to draw the blood, the nurse had to do all the ADLs. So I got practice with phlebotomy during that time, which was so recent, just last year in March. That was actually like my first time last year in March actually having to draw blood or whatever. And I knew it had to be a simple procedure because you're just getting it from a vein. I start IVs, so you just draw blood just like you start IVs. It's just you different needle, hooking the tube to it. So by the time, you know, I had done drew the blood, got the UA in and out cap all day, like they were kind of shocked because nurses be trying to shy away from things like that, and you know, people run. I'm not saying I'm the, you know, other people running from the fire, I'm running towards it. I'm not that type of person, but if it's a skill I can learn or something I can learn, I'm gonna try to learn it because you never know, skills come in handy. Like, and y'all already know my last video, I've been considering going back into acute care because there's so many things that I haven't done that I want to learn to do. And even though I said I want to learn to do them to make more money, but you know, I just want to learn how to do them too. Like I said, I may want to, you know, work as a nurse in another country. And so I feel like having those skills and like some of the things I learned to do as an RN that, you know, I learned that I was taught on the med-surg unit is I know how to operate like Lasix drips. I know how to operate heparin drips. I know how to do blood transfusions. Although systems may be different in different hospitals, but just the basics of blood transfusion. I know how to do that. I know how to flush central lines. I know how to draw blood from central lines. I know how to change central line dressings. I know how to start IVs. Not very well. I can get an AC IV, but anything else is, I don't know what. I just had such a hard time getting starting IVs outside of the AC when it comes to the R. Like I had such a hard time, but basically I know how to start IVs. What other skills did I learn? I said heparin drip, blood transfusion. I know how to, like, when you see those things where the nurses have like 10 different lines, yeah, I know how to do that. I know how to hang all the different IV antibiotics, have all these different lines, how to tag the line, and, you know, make sure everything is up to date, the Cural's cap cleaned and new ones on each time. Like, I know how to do all that stuff, you know, drawing blood from PICC lines, drawing blood from central other central lines, and, you know, I know how to do all that, and I learned that on Med-Surg. But there are certain skills that I don't know how to do that I want to learn how to do. Like, I don't know how to titrate, you know, drips. I don't know how to titrate drips, and I want to learn how to do that, but that's not something I had to encounter on my short time on Med-Surg. Another thing, like I said, I did a Lasix drip. Now, that was something that really, I was told that wasn't supposed to be on the medical surgical floor. That's something they really have on like cardiac wings, but I did have a patient with a Lasix drip, and I did learn how to do a Lasix drip, which just is basically the same as doing any other drip. But the thing with that patient, long story for another day. But another thing I learned how to do was partially learn, because I still don't have the mechanisms down pat of changing out a PCA pump. I've done it. Someone has walked me through it like 2 times, and I still had trouble understanding how to change out a PCA pump, you know, a morphine PCA, whatever. Sometimes they have Dilaudid. For some reason, it was just within the steps, and I just could not get it. And so I want to become proficient in doing that. But yeah, like some of the skills that I've just named, y'all, I was so excited when I did, you know, because as an LPN, I did monitor a blood transfusion, but I never initiated one. But I initiated so many blood transfusions on my short time on Med-Surg, and I was excited about it. I've done so many central line blood draws. I was excited about it. TPN, I've only done once. I want to learn how to do TPN. That's something else that I really want to get proficient in doing. I don't know how to, what is it when they have the porta-cath, access a porta-cath? I didn't learn how to do that. That's something I want to learn how to do. And so that was one of the reasons why, even though I could have probably gotten a acute care contract during this whole pandemic, especially when they were so desperate that they were taking you with no experience, the 6 months experience, I was just too scared that I was going to get in a situation and don't know what I'm doing. And my biggest fear, I don't want to kill nobody. I don't want to be a tribute to the death of a patient. Like, I don't want to do that. So that's why I didn't take that. And so those are the skills, you know, that I want to get to learn. And I just don't see too many, you know, I know it's long-term care and you probably feel like it's redundant, but you get those opportunities. Like, I have had a patient on TPN and long-term care, but the fact that I was an LPN, I wasn't able to initiate it. That was a protocol at that facility, so I never initiated. And then the one time that I did work as an RN on an oncology unit, there was a patient who had TPN, but the what do you call the nurses? the charge nurse, who was my classmate, you know, she talked me through it. So she kind of really did it. She was talking me through it, but she kind of really hands-on did everything. So I really didn't do it, and I didn't really grasp it that first time. And it may be simple to some, but I just didn't grasp the lines. And so those are the type of things I want to be proficient in doing, and I want to learn. And so for a nurse to not want to learn how to, I don't work with trach patients, why? You need to learn. You may end up having to work with a trach patient. You need to know what to do. You need to know how to suction this patient. You need to know how to change this inner cannula. You need to know the difference between a cuffed and an uncuffed trach. Like, these are some things you need to learn. But yeah, I just wanted to make this a quick video. It is 20 minutes. I'll be done, delete a good bit of stuff out of here. But one thing I forget to say in my videos, y'all, is please subscribe to my channel. So I always forget to say that. And yeah, subscribe to my channel. I will catch you guys on the next one. Goodbye.